Yeah. So, right. Okay. So I won a decision back in October 2021, where I challenged the low emission zone in London. And I challenged it on the basis that the signs were not compliant with the legislation. And Transport for London were given 21 days to provide evidence that the signs were compliant with the legislation, and they didn't. So subsequently, the adjudicator had ruled that the low emission zone was unlawful, which I won't kind of get too much into the technical legislation side of things, or else we'll be here for the next century, but because there's a lot of law that I've had to learn. So last year, just before the expansion, the story broke. When was it? How old was I? I think it was like 2023, wasn't it? August 2023, I think, was when the expansion was.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, and the London Mayor had expanded the ulez into the low emission zone that had been ruled unlawful by the adjudicator. And subsequently, for the last year, cutting a very long story short here, what I've done is enforce that adjudicator's decision, and that court appearance was today at Bedford County Court. And there's quite an entourage of people that came down to support me, including Howard today, who's been a supporter of what I've actually been doing for the last year. And what I was doing was enforcing the adjudicator's decision, where the adjudicator had specified in the direction that if I had paid any fees to Transport for London, they were to issue a refund without delay. So we were in court today, and it was a bit of a, God, what would I call it? It was a bit of a mess, really, in court today. The fire alarm went off right at a vital point during the proceedings. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist where I'm going to sit here and say that the fire alarms were deliberately set off.
Well, I'm a conspiracy theorist. No,
I would agree.
That makes six of us. The six of us here.
And we were kind of quite into a nice flow. And I would certainly say that the judge was not accepting anything that Transport for London had to say. However, it didn't quite go in my favour, but it went in everybody else's favour. Okay, so this is the crux of the story. So what the judge concluded today and what the judge confirmed was that the adjudicator was actually completely correct in what he had said. So when the regulations changed in 2016, which was the 22nd of April, 2016, when the regulations changed that govern all of our road traffic signs, any fees that were paid between 2016 to the 17th of June, 2021, motorists have a claim on that because it has been deemed unlawful by the adjudicator. So what had happened to me was, when we were aware of the penalty charge notices as a company, we set up the auto pay system. And that auto pay system was subsequently set up after the last penalty charge notice was issued to me, which was the 17th of June. But basically what the judge was saying is that he doesn't have the jurisdiction to rule on something past the date of the last penalty charge. He said, had I paid any fees that were levied under it within that time frame, that I would certainly have been, I would have had a claim, and I certainly would have been able to reclaim that money. So now the bottom line is that is confirmation from a district judge that the low emission zone is unlawful, and any fees or any penalty charges or fines that have been levied in that window there will have to be repaid back, because the low emission zone is unlawful.
No, could confirm, what's those dates again?
So it's from the 22nd of April, 2016 to the 17th of June, 2021.
5 years.
Yes.
Could this not bankrupt TfL? If this was the, I mean, how much money would they have to pay back? No, do you have any idea of what that might be?
Multi-million.
I don't know what it would be, but I mean, I would put the figures of hundreds of millions of pounds. Now,
I've done since I came back from you. Well, can I just say, Noel is an absolute hero here. He's actually used his own money and everything like that.
Completely. Yeah.
This man is.
Well
I
done,
adore him. I adore him. Don't tell him I said that. but he's one of the best. One of the best guys. I can't believe what he's done. He's used his own business money, etc., to take on a giant of TfL. And they, to put it bluntly, I've done some calculations in the time span up to that date. I understand Noel was a bit disappointed about it because absolutely, they didn't take into account what was happening after that date. But what it means is that all motorists, all low emission zone people pay charges and fines. That means, commercial vehicles, that type of thing. I've worked out it's something like £650 million will have to be paid back to them. Now, that's
wow.
And obviously the next stage is just because the annoying thing about this, guys, is that he knew damn well the signs weren't, they didn't comply, and they are still not complying. Therefore, he's continuing the fraud.
So we're talking about the Mayor of London. Obviously, we're talking about Sadiq Khan now.
You got it in one. You got it in one. And Noel, as I say, is a bloody hero. There's a lot of heroes around at the moment for me. Obviously Tommy, obviously Rupert Lowe, and now Noel. I mean, you can put all three of them together and say that they're doing something good for this country, and no other bugger is.
Well done, Noel.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant.
Do you know what? The ironic thing is, yes, I personally was not able to claim the money back. Me personally. But the bottom line is, I suppose, what's been the little sweetener in this is that everybody else is going to be able to. Now, what that process is going to look like, we don't know. However, what I did in the build up to this, because I was confident that I knew that what I was talking about, so I was very, very confident, and I jumped the gun a little bit. And what I've done is set up a company now to administrate these claims because I've been through that process and I know what that process actually looks like. And you have to be very, very specific. But as Howard said, it's like the journey of what I've been through in relation to this. And I know that I've kept you guys up to date with what's been going on with regards to this actual specific case. However, what I would say, what people don't see is they always see that end outcome of, the fact of the matter is, great, this money is going to have to get paid back and there will be processes in place to make sure that happens. But what people don't see is the actual human impact of the amount of hours that I have had to put into this, of my own time, where I've had to take days off work, etc., the stresses that it puts on family commitments, family relationships, etc. It's a very, very long process. You see, the fact of the matter is that these people who work for the government, they're getting paid by us fat salaries to sit there and pretty much make your life a misery. And what they did just before I was due to go into court, my email started pinging at 10 o'clock at night. They were trying to hit me with costs. All of their costs they were trying to hit me with. Subsequently, they were not granted today. They got no cost granted today because, in essence, I had won the case, but I just personally didn't get the money refunded to me. But you know what? When all of a sudden, before you're going to go to bed at like 10 o'clock at night, and you're seeing $6,000 of costs that they're putting in front of you, this is the bully boy tactics that have to stop. And what I've been adamant about, absolutely adamant about, is that I wanted to do this on my own, to show people that you can do it on your own. And all you need is a bit of mental robustness, dig into the detail, because we are being bullied in every single day of our lives. We are being institutionally bullied. Whether you speak out and say something, somebody's going to say that you're far right. You say something that someone doesn't like, you're a racist, you're a misogynist. All of these sorts of things. It's got to stop. It absolutely has to stop. And that's why I was adamant on doing this on my own. And people saying to me, did you have like barristers or did you have legal representation or anything like that? I mean, judging by the barrister that was produced today, I'm glad that I didn't have a barrister. So, I mean, I'm glad that I represented myself.
One second, minute. No, Howard, how much did you say you calculated that to?
It's about 600 million, but that's a real broad estimate. I reckon it's plus or minus 300 million on that. I just looked at what they were getting from Les about 2 years ago, and I did an average over the 5-year period. It's the 5-year period, Noel, we're talking about, aren't we?
Yeah, it's over.
What we're basically saying here tonight, Noel, is that you are personally responsible for potentially getting £600 million plus of the people's money refunded to them back in their pocket.
And this is just the start. This is just the start. He's set a precedent. I mean, this is the point. I mean, he's actually minimising really what he's gone through. But the point is, it'd be interesting to see how Sadiq Khan and TfL react to this. And more importantly, I wonder how Keir Starmer will protect the Mayor of London. All those sorts of things we've got to look into. The point is, this is just the start of incredible. It's a snowball getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And because obviously, ULEZ, all of the signs are still not compliant. It's as simple as that.
But yeah, does this mean that the whole of the ULEZ project could completely collapse? All this stuff where the cameras are all over the outskirts of London, that could all go, the whole lot. Is that what we've got potentially looking at?
I don't think. I mean, that's an interesting point, Richard. I don't think that the cameras will go in essence. But what I'm highlighting is that this is unlawful. And they knew about this decision in October 2021. And what have they continued to do? Charge motorists with no accountability. You know, and this has happened cross-party. This has happened on the Conservatives' watch, and this has happened on Labour's watch.
Basically, they've been scamming the public, Noel. Basically, they've been scamming the public.
Well, that's the thing that we've all got to remember here. This is illegal.
Yeah. And we've all
been paying it. Yeah, and we've been paying it illegally.
Well,